Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out. All right, let's dive into some classic gaming news. Banjo-Tooie is finally available on the Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack service.
What's interesting is that this isn't just about bringing an old game to a new platform. Banjo-Tooie is considered one of the best N64 games ever made. This release taps into a real sense of nostalgia for a lot of gamers.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I remember spending countless hours exploring those worlds back in the day. And seeing it come to the Switch is pretty exciting. Game Rant had the news and fans are buzzing. But before we get lost in those memories, for those who maybe haven't experienced the joy of Banjo-Tooie, what exactly is this expansion pack tier all about?
Think of it as a premium version of the regular Nintendo Switch Online service.
Yeah.
It gives you access to a curated library of classic games, not just from the N64, but also from other consoles like the Sega Genesis and Game Boy Advance.
So it's kind of like a virtual museum of gaming history, all accessible right from your Switch.
Exactly. And it's particularly appealing given the rising cost of collecting original cartridges. The expansion pack gives you a convenient, and let's be honest, more affordable way to relive those gaming classics.
That's a great point, especially for someone like me who can't resist the allure of a classic cartridge, but also can't justify spending a small fortune on them.
And when you consider the quality of the games included, like Banjo-Tooie, the value proposition becomes even more attractive.
Okay, so Banjo-Tooie lands on the expansion pack, and the internet explodes with excitement. But why all the fuss? What made this game such a standout title back in 2000 when it was released?
Well, it built upon the already successful foundation laid by its predecessor, Banjo-Kazooie. The developers at Rare really took things to the next level with Banjo-Tooie. We're talking significantly larger and more intricate worlds to explore.
Hold on, we're talking about a game on the N64, right? Those cartridges weren't exactly known for their massive storage capacity.
Right. Which is why Banjo-Tooie's technical achievements were even more impressive. The developers really pushed the N64 hardware to its limits, creating expansive environments that felt incredibly immersive for the time. And let's not forget the multiplayer aspect. Banjo-Tooie offered a variety of engaging multiplayer modes that added a whole new layer of fun to the experience.
I remember those multiplayer battles. It was always a blast to challenge friends in those wacky mini-games. Okay, so we've established that Banjo-Tooie is a bona fide classic. Game Rant helpfully provided a list of all the N64 games currently available on the expansion pack. Interestingly, Banjo-Kazooie was actually added to the service about 2 years ago.
So the arrival of the sequel was somewhat expected, but no less exciting for fans who have been patiently waiting.
Exactly. But now the question is, what other gems from Rare's treasure chest might be making their way to the Switch? I mean, come on, we can't have Banjo without his racing buddy, right?
You're talking about Diddy Kong Racing. Yes, that's a popular one among fans, and for good reason. It was a massive hit on the N64, with that signature Rare charm that we see in Banjo-Kazooie.
And the connection's even stronger considering that Banjo is a playable character in Diddy Kong Racing.
Absolutely. However, there's a potential snag when it comes to Diddy Kong Racing, and it all boils down to licensing.
Licensing issues, what do you mean?
Well, Microsoft acquired Rare back in 2002. That means they own the rights to certain characters and intellectual property featured in Diddy Kong Racing, like Banjo and Conker from Conker's Bad Fur Day.
So getting Diddy Kong Racing onto the Switch Online service could be a bit complicated, even with Banjo-Kazooie already being there.
It's not insurmountable, but it definitely adds a layer of complexity. It'll be interesting to see how Nintendo and Microsoft might navigate these licensing hurdles should they choose to pursue adding the game.
Okay, so Diddy Kong Racing might be facing some roadblocks. But Game Rant also pointed out that Nintendo has hinted at big things coming to the expansion pack in 2025. That's got everyone speculating.
And for good reason. 2025 is also the year that many industry analysts are predicting the launch of a next-gen Nintendo console.
Could those big things be tied to new hardware? Are we talking more than just adding more N64 games?
It's certainly a possibility that has fans excited. Imagine the possibilities. An expanded library of classic games from different consoles, new features for online play, maybe even some kind of integration with the rumored new hardware.
I'm getting chills just thinking about it.
Mm.
Okay, let's take a step back from the future for a moment and get back to Banjo-Tooie. We've talked about its critical acclaim and the nostalgia factor. But what were some of those innovative features that really made it stand out?
One of the most impressive aspects was the interconnected world design. Actions in one area could have consequences in another, creating a sense of depth and cohesion that was rare in platformers at the time.
It really encouraged exploration and experimentation. I remember stumbling upon secrets and realizing they were connected to something I did hours earlier in a completely different part of the game.
Exactly. It rewarded players for their curiosity and attention to detail. And then there was the sheer variety of moves and abilities Banjo and Kazooie could learn, transformations, musical attacks, new ways to interact with the environment. It felt like you were constantly unlocking new possibilities.
It's amazing how well the game has aged. It still holds up as a shining example of 3D platforming done right. Speaking of which, you can't talk about Banjo-Tooie without mentioning those crazy multiplayer modes.
Ah, yes, the multiplayer. Pure chaotic fun. From the frantic races to the strategic capture the flag matches, Banjo-Tooie's multiplayer was a blast to play with friends.
It really added to the game's replay value. You could spend hours just messing around with friends in those mini-games.
And in today's world of online gaming, it's almost refreshing to revisit a game that emphasizes local multiplayer, actually getting together with friends in the same room and experiencing the joy of gaming together.
It's a reminder that sometimes the simplest pleasures are the most rewarding. But let's be honest, the prospect of revisiting those classic rare titles with a modern twist is incredibly tempting.
The possibilities are truly endless. What if they went beyond just porting these games and actually remastered them with enhanced visuals and gameplay?
Imagine Perfect Dark or Jet Force Gemini with the graphical fidelity of current-gen consoles. It would be a dream come true for so many fans.
It would be like experiencing them for the first time all over again. And think about the potential for quality of life improvements. Updated controls, online multiplayer, maybe even some new content.
Okay, now we're getting into truly exciting territory. So we've talked about the arrival of Banjo-Tooie, the possibility of other rare games joining the Switch Online lineup, and the mystery surrounding those big things Nintendo has planned for 2025. But what does it all mean? What's the takeaway for our listeners?
I think the biggest takeaway is this. The world of gaming is constantly evolving. We're seeing a resurgence of interest in classic games. And companies like Nintendo are finding new ways to make those experiences accessible to a wider audience.
And with the potential arrival of new hardware on the horizon, coupled with advancements in technology like cloud gaming, who knows what the future holds? It's an exciting time to be a gamer, that's for sure. It really feels like we're on the cusp of a new era in gaming. And it's not just about the technology, it's about how we access and experience these games, both old and new.
Precisely. The lines between generations of consoles are blurring, thanks to services like Switch Online and the potential of cloud gaming. It's becoming less about the hardware you own, and more about the experiences you seek.
Which brings us back to that tantalizing question. What rare game would you love to see added to the Nintendo Switch Online service? Diddy Kong Racing would be amazing, but there's so many other possibilities.
Oh, absolutely. Perfect Dark with its espionage action, Jet Force Gemini and its bug-blasting adventures. Maybe even Conker's Bad Fur Day for the more mature audience out there.
Don't forget Killer Instinct Gold. Imagine battling it out with those classic characters online. Each of those games holds a special place in gaming history, and seeing them revived on the Switch would be a dream come true.
It's a testament to the enduring legacy of Rare and their ability to create games that were both innovative and incredibly fun to play. Games that have stood the test of time and continue to captivate players today.
Well, folks, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into Banjo-Tooie and the fascinating world of Nintendo Switch Online. We've explored the nostalgia, the possibilities, and maybe even sparked some excitement for what the future holds.
Before we sign off, I have a challenge for you. Head down to the comments section and tell us, what rare game would you most like to see on the Switch? And what big thing do you think Nintendo has planned for 2025? We're eager to hear your thoughts and theories.
And of course, if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more gaming insights and discussions. Your support really does help us out.
Thanks for joining us on this journey. Until next time, happy gaming.
See you in the next deep dive.